I stood at the entrance of what was once our lovingly planned nursery, my hand resting gently on my swollen 8-month belly. The pale yellow walls that Nate and I had carefully painted were now a cold, indifferent gray. The mobile of forest animals I had spent weeks crafting had been replaced with an elegant crystal chandelier. My mother-in-law, Deanna, stood proudly in the middle of the room, her smile full of satisfaction. Surprise, sweetie, I know you had your heart set on doing the nursery yourself, but let's face it, what you had was a little too childish. This looks much more refined, don't you think? Much more appropriate for my grandchild. I felt my baby kick, as if echoing my unease at the transformation of what had once been a warm, cozy space into something more suited for a luxury hotel suite. The rocking chair where I had planned to nurse my baby was gone, replaced with a Victorian-style armchair that looked anything but inviting. The playful forest rug had been replaced with a pristine white carpet that felt out of place in a nursery. "Where are our things?" I asked, managing to keep my voice calm despite the turmoil inside me. "Oh, I had a decorator take care of it," Deanna replied dismissively. "Don't worry, the baby shower's tomorrow, and I couldn't let our guests see that, what was it you called it, woodland theme?" She grimaced slightly. I thought of the countless hours Nate and I had spent on this room, how he'd learned to sew to help me make the curtains, how we'd spent weekends finding the perfect antiques and crafts. All of it was gone, vanished while we were at my final ultrasound appointment. "Mom, what did you do?" Nate's voice broke through from behind me. He had just returned from parking the car. "I fixed it, sweetheart. Isn't it beautiful? Now it's a real nursery, not that childish thing Emma put together." She paused, noticing the dark look on Nate's face. "Those childish things were hand-painted by Emma's artist. The mobile was made by her grandmother, who passed away last month." "How could you just?" Nate's voice faltered, filled with emotion. Deanna's smile wavered slightly. "Well, it's done now, the decorator is gone, and the baby shower is tomorrow. We can always make minor adjustments later." I felt Nate's steady hand on my shoulder, grounding me in that moment. 2 years of enduring Deanna's constant undermining and boundary pushing had taken a toll, but something inside me snapped. Enough was enough. "You're right, Deanna," I said, surprising both her and Nate with my calmness. "It's done, and the baby shower is tomorrow." A smile crept across my face as an idea took shape in my mind. "Oh, Emma, I'm so relieved you're being reasonable," Deanna gushed, clearly pleased. "I know it's a lot to take in, but I'm sure you'll come to see it's better this way." "Where exactly did you put our things?" I asked, my tone still cool and collected. "In a storage unit downtown, Unit 247. I have the key." She rifled through her expensive handbag and handed me a small key. "But you really don't need to worry about it right now. You should rest before the big day." I slipped the key into my pocket and nodded. "You're absolutely right. Nate and I will head home and rest up before tomorrow." Deanna beamed, oblivious to the silent exchange between Nate and me. She'd always underestimated me, seeing me as the quiet, compliant daughter-in-law who would eventually bow to her will. What she didn't know was that, before becoming a kindergarten teacher, I had managed events at one of the top hotels in the city. As we drove home, Nate kept apologizing. "I can't believe she did this. We'll fix it, Emma, we'll get everything back." I squeezed his hand and smiled. "Yes, we will. In fact, we're going to do more than that. Call Kate. We're going to need her help." Kate, unlike her mother, had been on my side from the start. She saw through Deanna's manipulative behavior and had defended me countless times when I was still learning how to stand up for myself. "What are you planning?" Nate asked, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips. He had learned over the years that my quiet demeanor often masked a sharp mind. "Your mom wants to steal the show at the baby shower," I said, rubbing my belly thoughtfully. "Let's give her a surprise she'll never forget." I pulled out my phone and made a few calls, first to Kate, then to my sister Lucy, followed by some of my closest friends. By the time we arrived home, Operation Nursery Rescue was well underway. Deanna had no idea that she had handed me the perfect opportunity to finally set boundaries with her. Tomorrow's baby shower was going to be unforgettable. "Are you sure about this?" Nate asked as we settled into bed that night. "It's a lot of work, and you're 8 months pregnant." I smiled, feeling the baby shift in agreement. "I'm sure. Your mom needs to learn that being a grandmother doesn't give her the right to override our choices as parents. And besides," I added with a wink, "I've got backup." As I drifted off to sleep, I couldn't help but smile at what the next day would bring. Deanna thought she'd taken control by redecorating the nursery. What she didn't realize was that she had just handed me the perfect opportunity to teach her a lesson about respect and boundaries, one she would never forget. That night, with Kate and Lucy's help, we retrieved all of our original nursery items from storage, but they wouldn't be going back in the nursery just yet. First, they would help me teach Deanna a lesson about family, respect, and the importance of boundaries. The morning of the baby shower arrived right on schedule. I woke early, my pregnancy insomnia proving unexpectedly helpful. Nate was already up, coordinating with Kate and our friends, who had worked late into the night to prepare for our plan. "Everything's ready," he whispered, kissing my forehead. "Mom's going to arrive early to help set up," her words, not mine. I nodded, slipping into the pale blue maternity dress I had chosen for the occasion. "Perfect. Is everyone clear on their roles?" The shower was being held at our home. Much to Deanna's dismay, she'd wanted to host it at her country club, but I had insisted, knowing that hosting it here would give me the upper hand. At exactly 10 a.m., Deanna's Mercedes pulled into the driveway. I watched from the window as she got out, impeccably dressed as always, carrying several large gift bags. Kate's car pulled up right behind her. "Mother," Kate called out cheerfully, "I thought I'd come early to help too." Deanna's smile faltered slightly, clearly disappointed that she wouldn't have time alone to make more changes before the guests arrived. I opened the front door and greeted them both with a calm, serene smile. "Perfect timing. I think we should begin the tour in the nursery, that's where we'll be showcasing the gifts," I said smoothly. Deanna's face lit up like a spotlight. "Absolutely, everyone's going to adore the makeover I gave it." She glanced toward the street, her brow creasing. "Why are there already so many cars parked outside?" "Oh, just some friends lending a hand with last-minute details," I replied nonchalantly, guiding her and Kate up the stairs. As we neared the nursery, the faint sounds of activity buzzed from behind the door. Deanna reached for the knob, but I gently stopped her. "Before we go in," I said quietly, "I just want to thank you for yesterday. You really opened my eyes." She smiled broadly, completely missing the weight behind my words. "Well, darling, sometimes it takes a bold vision to show what's possible. Change is hard, but necessary." I opened the door. Her grin vanished. The room she'd redesigned was gone, completely transformed once again. The sterile gray walls had been replaced by a breathtaking mural of a whimsical forest. The chandelier had been swapped out for our handcrafted mobile, now joined by a sky full of delicate woodland creatures suspended in midair. Gone were the stiff, antique furnishings. In their place were warm, soft pieces designed with a baby's comfort in mind. But it wasn't just restored, it was elevated. Each item had a story. Every brushstroke in the mural, every stitch in the cushions, every figure in the mobile had been contributed by someone who loved this child. Beneath each handcrafted item was a small plaque crediting the family member or friend who made it. The rocking chair now featured a custom pillow, lovingly embroidered by Tom's late grandmother. Even Kate had painted a corner of the mural herself. Deanna's eyes widened in disbelief. What happened to my nursery?" I turned to her, voice calm but unyielding. "No, Deanna, what happened to our nursery? The one you replaced without asking, the one filled with love and memories." The room was packed with our people, my sister, Tom's cousins, friends, all standing tall in matching shirts. On the front, "It takes a village." On the back, "But not a dictator." "I was only trying to help," she mumbled, her confidence faltering. "By erasing what mattered most?" Kate stepped forward. "By pushing Emma aside? By ignoring their choices as parents?" "That's not." "I didn't." Deanna's gaze darted around the room, trying to find an ally. There were none. "Everything in this room symbolizes care and respect," I said, placing a protective hand on my belly. "This is what a true village looks like, a community that uplifts, not controls." She lowered herself into the rocking chair, the one she had discarded like trash. Her poise cracked for the first time since I'd met her. "The guests will be here soon," I continued, "and they'll see this room, the love in it, the unity behind it. That's the story we're telling our child today." Tears glistened in Deanna's eyes, but these weren't the performative tears she'd used before. These were different, real. Tom stepped beside her and gently rested a hand on her shoulder. "Mom, we love you. We want you in our child's life, but Emma and I are the parents. The choices start and end with us." The room felt like it was holding its breath. Even the baby kicked, as if sensing the moment. Deanna stood slowly, her proud posture softened. She moved toward the mural, fingers brushing a butterfly my sister had painted. "When Kate was born," she said, voice hushed, "my own mother-in-law controlled everything. The nursery, my clothes, even what I ate. I promised myself I'd be different." She turned toward me, eyes wet. but I became the thing I hated most. It caught me off guard. In all the years of tension, this was the first time she'd ever shown true vulnerability. She looked around again. This room, it's stunning, far more beautiful than what I forced into it, because it was made with love, wasn't it? I stepped forward and offered my hand. Yes, and there's still room for you to add something, if you want to. Deanna squeezed my hand. Then, from one of her designer bags, she pulled out a small, worn book. I brought this. It's a collection of bedtime stories I used to read to Tom and Kate. It's a little beat up. I wasn't sure where to put it. It's perfect, I said gently. Let's put it right here, beside the rocking chair. Our child should know your voice too. As the first guests arrived, something shifted in Deanna. Instead of taking control or seeking praise, she joined in. She offered heartfelt tours of the nursery, proudly explaining the family contributions, speaking with genuine admiration for the teamwork behind it. My incredible daughter-in-law, I heard her say to a friend, taught me something I forgot: decor doesn't raise a child, family does. The shower was a hit, but the real victory was the healing. Something had changed between us. In the weeks after, Deanna started therapy. She apologized often, asked before offering advice, and when the baby came, she defended our parenting choices with more fierceness than we expected. 1 month later, she brought a new gift, a framed photo of the nursery, captured during the shower, with everyone who helped rebuild it. I want her to grow up with this story, Deanna said, cradling our daughter, the one where her nursery taught her grandmother what love really looks like. Now, I watch her rocking our daughter in that same chair she once cast aside, reading from that worn book she nearly hid away. The room around us still tells our story, the mural, the handmade details, but now it carries a new message, one of transformation, of learning, of love. Deanna learned something powerful. Being a grandmother isn't about having control, it's about offering love where it's welcomed, not forced. Our daughter will grow up knowing she is surrounded by people who fought to build a space filled with warmth and respect, and perhaps more importantly, she'll know that even the most stubborn hearts can change when shown the right kind of love. Not all happy endings look the way we expect. Some are better than anything we could have planned. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and stay stunned.